Hi, welcome back. You're with Laura's View and Tarot 2. Tonight, we're going to work with a question that was submitted by another viewer, one in Western Australia. I don't have permission to use her name, but her concern was that the draconian measures that are supposedly part of COVID are continuing in Western Australia much longer than the rest of that country. They feel a little bit distanced from the rest of Australia because of the high desert, keeping them separated from the rest of the country. I can relate because to leave Alaska, I have to use a boat or a plane, or before the was required, I could drive. Love that drive. That's not going to happen until things change, because this is not going to happen. Anyway, but back to her question. Their premier, Mark McGowan, it seems to be very dictatorial, and he has decided to chart a path that's much stricter and stringent than the rest of the country. I've read in the past about Australia, so have other tarot readers, and what we all seem to get, whether it's Janine or myself, is that that is going to be one of the last places that gets cleaned up. This is also confirmed with other sources. I think they're going to be, the only thing after them is going to be Israel, if what we're hearing on back channels and alt media is correct. But anyway, tonight I wanted to do a couple of looks, and something is telling me to do a simple, what we call a a pyramid spread for Mr. McGowan and see. Now, I'm going to share the screen real quickly, and you can just see his Wikipedia page. Okay. Wikipedia is not a source that I normally care a whole lot for or about. It's very partisan, it seems to be. But even when it's partisan, sometimes there's little nuggets in there you can find. And I found it really interesting that Mr. McGowan has actually criticized, after doing significant investments with China and building up trade there, he felt it necessary to criticize other politicians who were calling attention to human rights issues in China. Why in the world would that be bad? If there are human rights violations, as there are right now in Shanghai, the world should be focused on that. The scream should not just be coming from the high rises of people that are being isolated and starved there. When there's human rights violations, no matter where it is, and even if it hurts your trade possibilities, I think that humans are more important than trade. And it made me wonder if Mr. McGowan didn't have the same kind of compromised ethics at this point that we have with our own supposed first family, who have had far too many dealings with foreign entities. So anyway, we're going to do a quick look at Mr. McGowan, and then we'll do a second look at Western Australia separately from him. So hang on just a second. I'm going to let you watch me do the cards, and then we'll see what his read looks like. I'm kind of interested to see. I do not preview these. When you see them, I see them for the first time. So hang on just a moment. Okay, this first read is a simple one about Mr. McGowan. We're asking the universe what they can share with us is about him. So it's probably more about his career, and public officials are fair game, although I respect the privacy of individuals and I don't read about them unless I have their permission. So let's see what the universe has to say about Mr. McGowan and the job he's doing in Western Australia, and just what's going on with that gentleman. Okay, let's take a look at this spread and see what the cards have to say about Mark McGowan, Premier in Western Australia. Now, the past card is extremely significant. There are secrets in his background, and that he has built whatever he's got going for him politically on some secrets and lies. And it has been at the expense of others. So I'm wondering if at some point that's going to become clear. The Page of Swords is his current card, and the Page of Swords says that he is determined, logical, and self-assertive. Doesn't necessarily speak to integrity. In the near future, looks like some of his past may be coming back to bite him. His hidden influence is the King of Wands. And it's not necessarily his hidden influence, but somebody who has an eye to justice and truth is looking this way at him. Now, his political career doesn't seem to be over. And it may truly be that the popularity they have for him in the polls, even though it is waning with his draconian mandates, may continue for a time. Ultimately, his life course is going to correct itself. I don't know if that means he's going to be taking a deal or decide to work with white hats. I don't get the feeling that he is yet. Okay, when he does, I don't know that he's going to rise as high in the ranks again because of past decisions, but he will be still have a number of years working and hopefully with the white hats and correcting some bad judgment and decisions in the past. So interesting fellow. I'm glad I did this read. Now I'm going to switch the camera around, stop it for a minute and shuffle, because if you've seen, I'm not the most capable shuffler and I try to really mix the cards up well. And then let's see what's happening for Western Australia. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so now for Western Australia, let's ask the cards. We would like to ask the universe, what does the universe want us to know about the observable changes that may be happening in the next 6 months for Western Australia residents? So observable changes that may be happening in the next 6 months for Western Australia. I just had a card jump out. I'm going to show that to you because that's always significant, as I have learned. Okay, the card that jumped out was the Moon card. And the Moon card usually indicates secret, and there's really not great ways for it to be aspected in the type of questions we're asking. So let's see how this blends in with the read we'll be doing for the rest of Australia. Okay, observable changes for Western Australia in the next 6 months. I'm going to ask the universe also to save a couple of cards that will indicate things happening in the background. That'll be some further additional cards 8 and 9. So universe, please stack these cards in a way that will help us to get that information as well. We have interesting cards here. Our question, the situation, is indicated by the Tower, which means there are some big events that are going to occur. Now, The tower card isn't necessarily bad because sometimes change is for the better. The situation itself is we're asking if there's going to be some stability and justice in what's happening in Western Australia. Okay. Now the situation, the past, I always look at past, present, and future to see what the progression seems to be. Okay. In the past, Western Australia has had some prosperity and favorable rules and regulations. I have to be careful of phrasing so we don't get our hands slapped here. Don't want to be put in the naughty corner. Okay. We have the devil card here. Devil card's all about temptations and can indicate poor choices. Since it's right next to a tower card for one of its aspects, it doesn't bode well for it. However, some of the people who are still helping in the decision-making process, maybe those who were speaking out about human rights, still have some influence on this present situation, not as much as they would like or as much as maybe they need to have. Looking ahead to the future, we got a sneaky card here. So there's going to be some shenanigans happening. Somebody's going to be trying to maybe avoid needing to make deals with white hats, what have you, getting on board. The situation, though, is being overseen by the universe, by the alliance, white hats, whatever form this oversight takes. Whatever's happening in Western Australia in the next 6 months is going to have some oversight at some point from authorities that are far more powerful than Western Australia, no matter what agreements they have with other bad actors. Page of Pentacles is our less dominant clarification card, and he's about worthwhile effort and kind of an innocent and new. So it looks like by the end of 6 months, mark your calendars, you should be, even if there's some bumps in the road in the time in between, if the mandates and draconian dictates don't stop right away. By the end of 6 months, you should start seeing some things, because remember, our question was what will be observable for those in Western Australia. Okay. And then I also asked the universe to give us 2 cards that will give us some idea of things that might be happening behind the scenes. We have the Magician and we have the Ace of Cups. Okay. The Magician behind the scenes, we've got, again, we have some influences happening that are strong and stronger than any that we can come up with on this plane. And the ultimate thing here is, as I said, in 6 months, there's going to be something better. And also this card, the Cups, is about water and less observable things. Western Australia may have some underground ports and access that are getting cleaned up. That won't be observable. That's why I was trying to phrase my question in such a way that I could ask what my querent would see and what may also be happening behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, there's going to be some observable changes that you'll enjoy, and there's also going to be things happening behind the scenes. You know what they keep saying, watch the water. Watch the water. That's it for tonight. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to do something for the next few videos as I get more people coming to my channel. After I say that particular thing about you're welcome to like and subscribe and comment, I'm going to tell you 2 or 3 things about myself real quickly. I am 66 years old. My birthday was March 25th. I don't know the time of day, so if you're in the zodiac things, I can't really tell you. I know there was a moon change that day. So you'll just have to get to know me to decide which side of that I'm on. And I was a special ed teacher for many years, and I still am part-time until the end of next month. But something told me, don't wait till retirement to start what you're doing. It's needed now. So that's why I started my channel. Okay, until next time, stay safe. Good night.